Welcome to All Kinds. I'm Paya. And today we're going to be talking about the Big 4-0. Am I the creep in the club? Is my hair supposed to be falling out? Are these new freckles or age spots? Should I even bother worrying, or should I just say fuck it and get the red convertible? What ships have sailed and which ones are just coming into port? This may be middle age, but it's definitely not the Middle Ages. Keyonce? Instagram versus reality serial offender Khloe Kardashian and her many faces. Has she gone too far this time? Welcome back, everybody. I hope you've had a great week. You know, there's been a lot going on, but I saw in the news also the update. Robert Kraft has had all charges dropped against him. I don't know if you guys remember. It was that whole strip mall with the sex slaves that we were talking about. They were busted. They had secret cameras everywhere. And he wasn't the only guy. I mean, he's high profile, he's famous, he's a billionaire. But a lot of people were caught with this. So it was the whole human trafficking, like the passports taken away and these girls work there and it's a massage parlor. And I guess the reason they were able to get these cases dropped is they said that it violated their privacy, having these hidden cameras in this illicit massage parlor, if you will. And I just think the whole thing's disgusting. I know the attorney right now is suing that they can't even ever get a hold of the tapes. He wants them burnt forever. And I don't even know what happened to these girls. We never heard the end of it. They're just gone, I guess. I hope they're being taken care of. And we talked about this before, and it's not that I have a problem necessarily with the sex workers. I don't. But these weren't sex workers. These were like slaves. You know, it's one thing. He is a billionaire. If he wanted to have a high-end escort or low-end or whatever, totally fine, consenting adults. But in this case, come on now, this was human trafficking. And you could tell, I don't care what they say. I don't care how forced a smile they put on. You have to know it's a seedy strip club. So once again, he gets away scot-free. And I guess everybody else, because that would set the precedent. I mean, we're only really hearing about him because of his fame. But it has been it's sad, but hilarious on social media with all the terrible puns. I mean, if this was an episode of Sex and the City, I don't even know which one Carrie would start with. I mean, the best tweet I saw was a lot of people saying, he got off again, and we knew it would come to this, and stuff like that. Another happy ending. I mean, the jokes were just writing itself, so I think it's pretty much over with, and I'm sure we'll never hear about it again, but I hope those girls are okay. Other than that, we already talked about Ellen and her apology. It seems like she's just sailing through. Everybody's going to forget about it. But I keep hearing that Kelly Clarkson's show is getting super popular and they think she might be the next Ellen. So I'm like, okay, well, I do like Kelly Clarkson. I haven't watched the show, just disclaimer right there. But why not? I mean, at least it's not what we originally thought that James would be replacing her. I think she's going to go on. I think what we talked about with like Jessica Mulroney, even when there's a big like scandal and they're quote unquote canceled, they're not really canceled, these rich famous people. They just wait for it to die down. They issue the nice apology and then they come back. Even in Jessica's case, everyone's been talking about she's back on social media. She's totally moving forward with her life. And I wouldn't be surprised if she gets another show or something in the next couple years or so, if that's what she wants to do. I don't think that we're going to just never hear from her again. Maybe one or two people might bring it up. Even though people are still pissed about Ellen's faux apology there, they're still watching the show. I mean, I don't know what the ratings are, but I think people are just like, okay, well, yeah, we're moving past that. Next, what's new? And there's just too much else going on in the world anyway. So everyone's like, who cares? Now, I know we're talking about 40 again, but I can't help myself, guys, because it is my birthday, you know, and it's such a milestone and I'm super excited. My husband's like, you never shut up about it. I mean, he's super happy because he's 48 and now I'm joining him in the 40s. And I'm like, well, I'm still the trophy wife. Okay. It's always going to be like that, no matter what. And he's getting that whole distinguished aging look. You know, he's got the graying at the temples and, you know, any kind of wrinkle looks good on him. And for me, I'm like, why am I not getting that like even beautiful gray? Like I have gray in like patches and I've noticed like hair coming out. I'm like, is this normal or is this the water in my shower or is this age? And I'm like, oh, cute. I have more freckles. And I'm like, wait a minute. Is this like an age spot? Is this a freckle? I don't even know what this is. So I'm about to have my first dermatology appointment. I've never had one, never sat down with a dermatologist. I know many people who are very close with their dermatologists, and it's quite the study, but I'm going to see. It could just be my shower water or it could be me aging. Either way, I want to be ready, What I love about, getting older is you just get more sure and more confident of yourself. I don't know if anyone fully ever knows themselves. We're always growing, but you definitely know what you like and certainly what you don't like. I know that I like my trash TV. I'm not apologizing. I love it. I love 90 Day, The Housewives, all of it. I don't even think it's trash. I saw today that 90 Day Fiancé, I believe it is actually nominated for a People's Choice Award. And I keep hearing more people talk about it. So, I think people understand the entertainment value of this show. I know it's a serious show, technically. These are real green cards, if you will. But it's just such a good way to pass the time. You forget it's real. Even though it is technically scripted, they are all people who have applied for the K-1 visa. But it's trash TV. I love it. I like my wine. I like my orgasms. I like talking about whatever the fuck I want. And I think we all say this and we feel it, but the older you get, you really are like, well, that's me. I'm getting set in my ways. And it's just going to be like that. But at the other hand, you also take more accountability. You're like, oh, yeah, I fucked up. That was me. Oops. I'm sorry. I'm happy to do that. Not like Ellen. I'm happy to give a real apology if necessary, and we'll move on. So that's the other plus about it. There are adulting things that you can do. You can use it at any age in your life, but I feel like maybe it's just me. I'm like, well, at 40, that's really an adult. No one's going to say, oh, it's delayed adulting or, this person might have to live at home. No, you're 40. Everybody knows you're definitely responsible. You're definitely of age anywhere in any country for anything. But it's a lot of fun too. Like I was like, oh, okay, now that I'm 40, what's 40 specific? I'm like, let me go check out magazines for women over 40. Nothing, nada. I didn't check men, so I don't know. But I think they're just so used to catering to always younger people or niche. Like I'm not exactly AARP. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess everything's still open to us. Why wouldn't it be? You're only as old as you feel, but it's nothing really special. I'm just the only one who loves celebrating a birthday. I can't help it. And my husband's like, it's not that big a deal. He's not a huge birthday guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. He knows I am. And he's like, I don't know why you get crazy. I'm like, it's birthday month, birthday weekend. I just love it. It's nice. You feel like you've earned that time. But he's very direct. And he likes to point out my flaws or the way he describes it. I'm just teasing you. But thanks to him, I know about new mystery hairs. And I now snore. So I'm like, okay, well, that's probably sticking around. And I'm like, you have to tell me these things because what if I had apnea? Like, who knows, right? So I still feel the same, but I think it's no matter what age you are, you just got to remember like, hey, you got to work maybe a little harder to make sure that you have as much energy. So I try to stay active as often as I can, but then I'm more careful. Like before, if I bumped into something, it was not really a big deal. But now I'm like, oh, is it broken? Am I brittle? But you're not, and you're more resilient than you think. But it does take a little longer, and it has been for many years now. If I work out, like I'm going to feel it. I'm going to feel it for a few days, and I'll be like creaking, and I'm almost like, can I predict the weather? Not quite, but still. I do love it, though, because everyone says, well, now you're also a cougar. And I'm like, I always think of that old joke where they say it's really good for ladies because 20 goes into 40 a lot more than 40 goes into 20. So if you're a lady and you're a cougar, it's happy hunting. And speaking of that, when I was single a few years ago, I had a friend who is a cougar, and she told me about the app. I think it's called Cougar Life. It's like a cougar Tinder, if you will. And we were having a few drinks, and for fun, she was like, well, why don't you try it? She always had great experiences. I'll tell you guys about that. And I was like, you know what? Sure. It had a few glasses of wine. I made a profile, not my real name. Never do that, guys. And I put my real age. That was my mistake. I put 30 something. That's the age I was at the time. And I got nothing for like a solid week. And like, she always had like models and all kinds of young guys messaging her. So then the next week we were having a few drinks. I'm like, all right, I'll log back in. Still nothing. So I was like, I'm going to change my age and add into the 40s. Once I did that, I was inundated. And I was so shocked by these guys. It wasn't what I thought. I think I had some presumptions that there would be like sugar babies looking for sugar mamas, like pay my college tuition or pay my car or help me out. But no, these were like a lot of very accomplished young men. I mean, first of all, they were all in crazy shape. The majority were. They looked like models, half of them. And they were all trying to like really make it in life, whatever field they were in. They were highly ambitious and had their shit together. And a lot of them were just like, we just want to be with a mature older person. They liked it either for sexual reasons or for maturity reasons. But I always said, I'm like, I don't want to teach. I'm here to learn. So I don't know how much fun this is going to be. And she's like, well, just try it. So I was like, fine. And I went on a date with one of them and I ended up dating him. Like I tried 2-3 times, but it was really hard for me. Like, I don't know. I just felt the gap, and I'm supposed to be the older, mature lady. And obviously I had to admit to him that I wasn't in my 40s. He was a bit disappointed. I was like, what does it matter to you? I'm still older than you. You're 22, right? But it just wasn't for me. But kudos to her, because I got to say, I mean, she has had amazing guys. She is definitely she was in her late 40s and they were in their early 20s. I remember we were all going for a night out and all of a sudden one of them pops out and she's like, oh yeah, this is like Tim and he's joining us. And Tim's like, oh, do you need me to iron anything? She's like, yeah, Tim will iron for you. Give him your shirt if you want. I was like, oh, no, thank you, Tim. Like they were willing to do anything she would need. They were super attentive and she's super happy. She has been married to her cub for a while now and they're totally great together. So I'm happy for her. But, to each their own. I ended up with somebody a little bit older and very direct. I've learned a lot from him and I like to think that he's learned from me as well. But I think it's really great that you can feel more and more sure of yourself. And I hope that for everybody. I mean, I'm not volunteering to give advice, but I'm more than happy to give it when asked on anything. I mean, I think I've been around on the planet for a few years. Hopefully I have something to impart here or there. Why not? And the beauty is I feel like less and less, I don't need to change that much. I mean, I'm open to changing if the case is made. I always say, if you learn something new, you're allowed to change your mind or change your perspective. That's called growing. But other than that, I feel pretty comfortable with who I am. And you're allowed to like what you like and not like, and no one can tell you otherwise. So, whatever it is, whether it be my TV taste, my taste in men, my taste in magazines, whatever, it's my business. We see a lot with the housewives, a lot of similarities. It doesn't matter which city they're in. And it's almost like the rules don't really exist. I don't always know like why they tend to all kind of look alike depending where they are. Like, if they're in California, we tend to see a lot of the blonde, the bleached, and the boobs and the nails. And that's across the board. And people seem to think how they should act. And every time they have a fight, they're like, you're not acting like a grown woman. Well, yeah, they are. That's who they are. And they're grown women. So how can you say they're not? And I think we've seen what it looks like when they do the various procedures. Sometimes they have that look on their face, that plastic surgery look. You're not quite sure what they had, but you recognize the look. And that's something I don't want to have. I've known a lot of people specifically getting Botox even in their 20s. But I had this friend whose boyfriend sold Botox and he was like, don't do it until you absolutely have to, because what it does is it fills in a crack and it just makes the crack wider and wider over time. So you will always need to do it, or else you're going to have like crazy deep wrinkles, whereas you might not have had you not used them. So I'm glad to see a lot of people, like you are seeing more natural looks, but you tend to get that same look, not just with the fillers and the Botox. When I do have expressions, you get to see it. So I think that's pretty cool. Well, guys, it's time for a commercial break. And this commercial is brought to you by the push-up bra. Yes, I know most of us have given up bras entirely these past few months. However, now that most interactions happen online, nothing beats a push-up to add that sexy edge. Whether you're catfishing or just filling out a baggy sweater, a push-up bra can make your waist appear slimmer while filling out your bust, giving you the perfect hourglass. Whether in the mood for that throwback 90s porn look or just feeling sassy, a push-up is a handy part of any wardrobe. So put in your tracks, get that face beat, add the lashes, a push-up, and you're all set. And I'm back. Yeah, it's a really great tool to have. I used to feel really uncomfortable wearing them because it was like fake advertising, but now who knows what's real. And speaking of that, I wanted to talk about Khloe Kardashian because we all know the Kardashians. We know about their affinity for surgery, makeup, and all of that. However, this past week, she released a photo that was almost the dead ringer for Beyonce, and social media went wild. She has been a repeat offender on, there's a Reddit that I follow, Instagram versus reality, and she uses a lot of different filters, and you can't recognize almost if it's her until they say it. Sometimes you do, you see the side by side. But there's so much you could do, not just Photoshop, but with filters. And Khloe does claim she hasn't had any surgery at all. She says it's good bras. We just talked about a good push-up, and she says that. And if you look closely at pictures, you'll see it. Even when they used to do like the Victoria's Secret, like fashion model walks, you would see these women, their bras would have their tits pushed all the way up to their collarbones and then you'd see them naturally. These women are like 5'9" to 5'11". They're very slim. They would not have a big bust in real life. And you'll see them like the next day in a t-shirt, like practically flat. So a push-up can do a lot. So I know that a lot of people think she's had a boob job, but if you look at all the pictures, you'll find the flatter-ish images. You'll see when she's wearing the push-up if you pay attention. And even with makeup, you can create more depth to your cleavage. Like I talked about with all the RuPaul's Drag Race, there's so much you can do. She also says it's good makeup. And that's true. Once again, with Drag Race, you see guys have to turn themselves into women and into specific women. It could be a different race even. You could do almost anything with contouring. A lot of people know that now. But it's a lot of makeup in real life. If you meet someone in real life who's wearing all that makeup in the daytime, it's a little bit shocking at first. It's almost like a big mask. You're like, whoa, there it is. But on photos, and especially with filters and lighting, you can create that look and you can make it softer and look really natural. So people think with that photo, I'm like, is it just a tan and added filters? I don't think she's had a butt lift. Apparently they all have nice butts. Everyone says it's a boob job, but I believe her that it could be a push-up. She said she's done the lip fillers. That's the only thing she's done. But I think a lot of people can get a lot of the same look anyway with the blacked out brows, the lashes, the contouring. You can get a lot of that look, plus the fillers. You do the fillers either in the face, the Botox, whatever, and the collagen in the lips. So I'm not sure if she went too far. People are pretty enraged, but I'm like, hey, it's a look that a million people are doing. She is very, very famous, so people are going to pay attention. But, everyone talks about her sister's surgery too. Some of them, it's been very dramatic. But you see pictures, the paparazzi will catch them with zero makeup, and it's almost jarring sometimes. You're like, oh, that is the same person. But it's like that for anyone. The illusion is real. I always think it's like they're wearing drag queen makeup, and it's true, and you can create any character. Well, you guys tell me if you think she's gone too far. I think she's having fun. She likes all her different faces. Who cares? It's different looks, different makeup. Whether she's had surgery or not, I guess that's her business. If she feels better, that's what she wants to do. I don't know if it's setting a bad example or not. Everyone already has access to everything, and tons of young people are already sporting that look that we've been talking about. So I don't know if it's a problem. I did see that it did look very much like Beyonce. I'll give you that. And so I'm curious. I'm like, if she's going to start doing different celebrities, I'm sort of entertained. I'm like, who's she going to do next week? Sure, go ahead. Ariana Grande. I don't even know if you've seen her. This girl's very pale a few years ago. Now she looks very different. You could do a lot. And I don't know where the line is. Are we not allowed to be tanned anymore? Obviously, we know the difference between appropriation and blackface. But she is very, very tan there. So I don't know. But given who she is, and, a lot of their other cultural appropriations, she's probably not doing the right thing. But it's not for me to say. You guys let me know. I think this one's up for debate. I'll leave you with that. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to be celebrating still. It's my month of 40. Yes, I know you're all tired of it, but hey, I'm very excited. I'll keep you updated on things I learn along the way. And if you guys like what you hear, don't forget to check us out weekly on iTunes or on your preferred platform. Please give us a rating and subscribe to the show. Give us the stars you think we deserve. You can check out our website at allkindspodcast.com. Also hit us up on Twitter at allkindsweekly or on Instagram at allkindspodcast. I look forward to hearing from you, and maybe I can discuss it on our next show. Thanks for listening.